Hi, I'm Susan Lerner. I'm the Executive Director of Common Cause New York, and I want to talk to you today about press coverage and dealing with the media. Getting press coverage is a really important tactic to use. It builds public awareness, it lends credibility to your position, and it can be crucial in moving decision makers like mayors or state legislators or even governors. There's several important things to keep in mind when you're planning your media strategy. First, figure out who's your audience. Remember, your audience isn't the press. The press is an intermediary between you and whomever you want to reach. Often, if it's a governor or a state legislator, that will be a newspaper or a TV station or a radio station in the state capital. But it could also be their hometown newspaper or a small radio station in their district that's very influential. Don't overlook the local. It can really have a big impact. Second, it's really important to work out your underlying message. Keep it short and clear. You won't be able to get all of the nuances of your issues into an interview or a press release, and it's very easy to get lost in the details. Finally, keep in mind that just like you want media coverage, reporters want a good story. Think about what the news hook is, what's relevant about your story. But if you can tie it to something that's happening right now, is much more likely to get the issue covered. Lastly, a few don'ts. Don't answer questions that surprise you. Remember, you can tell a reporter that you want to call them back. You can say this isn't a convenient time to talk, and it isn't because you don't know the answer that you want to give. Or you can say, that's an interesting question I haven't thought of. Let me think about it and get back to you. When's your deadline? Because you don't want to miss their deadline. Which brings me to another point. It's extremely important not to stretch the truth. Your credibility is what you have to offer. Don't get angry and don't let yourself be provoked into saying something damaging or unkind. Reporters, producers, and editors like conflict, and sometimes they try to set one up. Don't get pushed into it. Most importantly, don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Pivot back to your message, to your talking points. Repeat them relentlessly, because if you do, that's what will show up in the article or the news story, which means that you've successfully gotten your message out. Letters to the editor are an excellent way to get your message out. People and elected officials actually read them. Letters that are topical, that respond to something that was in the newspaper, are most often likely to get printed, especially if they tell a personal story. And you can find the requirements for letters to the editor generally on the editorial page of the newspaper. It'll tell you where to send your letter in. It'll give you the length that it should be. Remember to include your name, address, and phone number, because you should expect a phone call from the newspaper if they're going to publish your letter. Now, what if you are putting on an event? How do you get the press to pay attention? There are some things that you can do to make it more likely that you'll get coverage. First of all, in planning the event, think about what makes it newsworthy. It's probably the same things that make people want to come to the event. So if you are inviting an elected official who doesn't often make a public appearance, that's newsworthy. If you are expecting a large crowd, that makes it newsworthy. If this is a public forum about a controversial issue that is being discussed in your community, again, newsworthy. Think about whether there's going to be something visual that makes it attractive for TV, charts or photographs that accompany a report. And prepare a media advisory. And there are a lot of examples of media advisories on the internet that you can rely on. You want to send your media advisory out about a week before your event, and you want to send it out again the day before the event. And be prepared to do follow-up phone calls, either the day before the event or, if it's an evening event, in the morning. And when you make your follow-up phone calls, you ask for the assignment editor or the specific reporter that you know covers the event, and be prepared to give a very precise explanation of what's happening and why you think it's newsworthy. Now, if you're lucky enough to know that you're going to have an interview, there are certain things that you can do to prepare. I can't emphasize enough, be clear about what your message is. Distill it down to a sentence or two, and be prepared to repeat it. Also, think about what are the tough questions, what are the things that could trip you up that a reporter might want to ask, so you're prepared with a good answer for things that might weaken your position. Before a radio or TV interview, it is okay to ask, what are the questions that I'm going to be asked? Or what is the angle that the interviewer is going to take? What topics do you want to cover? So that you can prepare. In the interview, don't get lost in lengthy explanations. Keep to your talking points. Keep your answers short and to the point. If it's a radio or TV interview for the evening news, remember, probably they're only going to use a sentence or two. So you want those one or two sentences to be your message, because if it's your message, then you've had a successful interview. If it's a TV interview, dress simply and comfortably in a way that's appropriate for the occasion. Keep in mind that intensity sometimes shows up on TV as anger. So you want to relax, and you want to make a connection with the interviewer. Look them in the eye. Don't look at the camera. Look at the interviewer, because you want to come across as relaxed and informed, but not angry. For radio, speak in your normal voice. Your goal in all broadcast instances is to have a good conversation with the interviewer, because that way you come across as relaxed and reasonable. If it's a print reporter, you're going to have more time, but don't get trapped into going into more detail. Stick with your primary message. It's often a surprise to people when they've had a 20 to 30 minute conversation with a reporter to open up the paper the next day and only one sentence from that long discussion has been quoted in the story. So be sure it's the sentence that has your message in it. To reiterate, be clear on what your message is. Don't be afraid to repeat it over and over again. Understand what makes a good story, what's newsworthy, and try and provide it if at all possible. And be prepared. Don't answer questions that you don't know the answer to. Pretty soon you'll be an old hand at dealing with the press, and reporters will be calling you instead of you calling reporters. Good luck in getting your message out,